Support for LPB's 2021 Louisiana Young Heroes is provided by
At AmeriHealthcare Louisiana, we help people get care, stay well, and build healthy communities. Care is the heart of our work at AmeriHealthcare Louisiana.
and by the U.S. Army Baton Rouge Recruiting Battalion, Community Coffee, and the East Baton Rouge Parish Library, with additional support from Hotel Indigo and Dimco.
Entergy is proud to support programming on LPB and greener practices that preserve Louisiana.
The goal of our environmental and sustainability initiatives really is to ensure that our kids and future generations can be left with a cleaner planet.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, with support from viewers like you.
And he's well waiting for you to come and take his place.
Coaching legend Skip Bertman and wife Sandy on how LSU became home.
My all-in costs will be between $4,000 and $5,000.
How a Baton Rouge do-it-yourselfer found a way around lumber prices that were out of sight.
It was more of a shock, and I guess it took a while for it to really register it in.
A young hero doesn't let a surprise diagnosis keep him from serving the community.
Hi everyone, I'm Kara St. Cyr.
And I'm André Moreau. Lots to get to tonight on SWI. But first, Baton Rouge is now the most dangerous city in Louisiana. The FBI saying that. They put together a crime rating reporting system that measures violent crimes across the country. Baton Rouge topped the national average.
The city's police chief, Murphy Paul, sat down with President Joe Biden and other officials from other states to discuss ways to curb the rise in violence, especially since summer is usually when violent crime spikes the most. Chief Paul says that he's open to any new suggestions.
And I appreciate the president's leadership, because what we heard today, what we sat down collectively, we talked about long-term strategies. We talked about goals. Right now, we actually talked about how we can use some of those dollars to get more police officers on the streets, because we do understand that morale is low in some departments across America. We do understand that it's a challenge in law enforcement today. And there is nothing, let me be clear about this, there is nothing simple about policing in America today. It is complex, and we have to speak to that. It is a complex issue.
The president's plan includes expanding summer programs for teens and re-entry programs for incarcerated people, among other things, to help curb that violence.
Also saying a bridge is coming near you, a confident Senator Bill Cassidy leaving a meeting at the White House, a bipartisan group of senators and the president reaching a deal on a pared-down infrastructure plan. The price tag is $973 billion over 5 years. Here's Cassidy right afterwards.
Leaving the White House, here's my colleagues. Met with the president. We got a deal, largest infrastructure package in the history of the American government. A bridge is coming near you, not right away, not tomorrow, not next year, but we've begun the process. But also important environmental things such as rebuilding coastlines, reducing the risk of flooding. It's a good bill. We've made great progress.
By this morning and today, though, some of the bloom of that agreement was off. Bickering had ensued, leaving questions about how settled it really is.
Now switching gears to COVID, as of midweek, state health officials saying more than 300,000 people had signed up for the state's vaccination lottery since registration opened on June 21st. A chance for some to win $100,000 or even $1 million.
And get vaccinated. And now we'll look at other news making headlines across the state. This week, the governor vetoed legislation banning transgender athletes from playing on girls' sports teams. Now there's talk GOP lawmakers may try to hold the state's first veto session under the decades-old Constitution. Republican House Speaker Clay Schexnayder announced he wants to have a mid-July special session, but GOP Senate President Paige Cortez has yet to take a public stance. The governor also signed key pieces of a tax plan to simplify the state's income tax collections from federal payments, but it still needs voter approval this fall to take effect. Other items getting his signature, one that makes kindergarten mandatory in the state, and another giving approval to set up sports betting. Approved legislation about medical marijuana is the most significant step since the program began in 2015. The state intends to spend $180 million over 3 years on grants to telecom firms to build broadband internet infrastructure in underserved communities. For thousands of Louisiana households and businesses, affordable, high-speed internet is out of reach, making simple tasks of modern living, such as internet browsing, online shopping, or watching a YouTube video, often impossible. The coronavirus pandemic brought even more attention to the technology gap that exists. The push to build solar plants in the state is getting increased scrutiny from state lawmakers and from local leaders. Of concern is whether farmers would be crowded out of land leases by solar companies with deep pockets. The Advocate reports at least 3 parishes, West Baton Rouge, Tangipahoa, and Washington, have issued moratoriums on utility-scale solar projects. McKinley Mac Phipps got his release from prison late Tuesday, granted parole in the case of a 2001 nightclub shooting. A St. Tammany Parish jury found him guilty of manslaughter, and he was serving a 30-year sentence. He long has maintained that he was wrongfully convicted. 6 years ago, when witnesses said their testimony was coerced, his story got new attention. At the time of the shooting, he was a 22-year-old rapper with a new record deal. Auditors say the state labor department paid out about $1 million in state and federal unemployment benefits to people who were dead, but that more than half of those payments could not have been prevented. In addition, these improper payments were just a fraction compared to the $8.6 billion in benefits paid by the State Workforce Commission from March 2020 to April of 2021. After missing for 60 years, the gravesite of a former Louisiana governor has been found in Rapides Parish. Joseph Walker was our 13th governor, serving from 1850 to 1853. Historians say over time, some grave markers were moved, and that's what happened with Walker's. It is expected that an historical marker will be placed at the site. Also new today, the governor vetoed the concealed carry gun bill. This is a veto that could also fuel a first ever potential veto override session. LSU has a new baseball coach. Jay Johnson comes to Tigertown from Arizona. He took his team to a pair of College World Series appearances while there. Paul Maneri retired after 15 seasons and won national championship at LSU. Obviously, filling the shoes of the legendary Skip Bertman has proven to be difficult. All of those wins, the 5 national titles, then he left to become the Tiger athletic director. He is featured in a new SEC Storied documentary called Hold the Rope. It was released last month. Tonight, though, some of the Bertman story not from the sports pages. For that, I sat down with Skip and Sandy Bertman at their home to talk life, family, and how it all came together.
He created this monster program where LSU baseball is like Kentucky basketball and Alabama football.
In baseball, it is said that timing is everything.
The stretch by Mars in the pitch. Swung on and hit the right field. That's way back there. Way back there. Home run!
The timing of a batter connecting with the ball. How the right balance and stability either allow the timing to be on or off. Until the arrival of Skip Bertman, the history of LSU baseball's timing, except a handful of league champions over many decades, was routinely off. Bertman, though, seemed to have the timing thing down, along with keys to success, even if his coaching dreams had not fully materialized. More immediate in the fall of 1961 was a chance meeting with a girl named Sandy, who happened to have baseball in her blood.
Together, I was born in Brooklyn. Okay. My father took me to games at Ebbets Field, so I loved baseball from the very beginning.
You could argue that's how she felt about Skip from the very beginning.
Where did you meet?
Give him the story.
I saw Skip at lunch one day when it was a teacher work day, and he was at another school. And I saw him at lunch, and I said, that guy looks cute. I like him. And he showed up at my school that afternoon.
Yeah,
He was teaching in 2 schools, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. That was in August. School started in September. We got engaged in November and married in February.
You're kidding. So this was quick.
Quick.
Very quick. Yeah.
Very quick.
Again, the timing was there.
I just went to a restaurant that she was at with her girls.
It was meant to be.
And then I just showed up at the door.
At school.
At her place.
It was just meant to be.
Yes.
Because I didn't know who he was, and I didn't know he was going to show up at my school in the afternoon, but he did, and that was it. It was fate.
Years later, as a rising assistant at Miami, a bit of foreshadowing for Skip and Sandy on a trip to New Orleans to watch Miami play a football game at Tulane. Sandy practically found herself in what would eventually become her own backyard.
I went with the Miami coach's wife down River Road to one of the plantations. If you would have told me I'd be living a mile from River Road, I would have told you you were out of your mind.
So the wives took a bus tour, which was literally just a couple blocks from here.
It was 3 years later that the overtures from LSU began.
Former athletic director Bob Broadhead called here, and this is interesting because I said to him, well, you already have a coach, say Jack LeMay, and he said, well, we're waiting for you to come and take his place. And I said, well, Bob, it doesn't work like that. Before I can come up there, you have to have a job. And of course, he couldn't believe that I would say that. So could I try next year? And I said, yeah, sure. And he did. He called the next year, and they had fired the coach.
At first, though, they had to convince their children.
We had four daughters.
4 daughters we had to uproot. I don't know. I think I was ready for a change. Miami wasn't the Miami that I grew up in anymore, and I was ready for a change. So it was good for me, very hard for the girls.
But this very house, where they have lived since they first moved here in 1983, helped win them over.
Yeah.
My wife, excuse me.
Go ahead.
My wife was asked the second time to come up here. I wanted her to come, and I wanted her to see this house. And of course, the house has 2 stories, and it's a nice house. Compared to the $75,000 home that the 6 of us lived in. And I said, each girl can have her own bedroom. And Sandy could walk upstairs. It was kind of like...
It was nice, to see a beautiful home. And it's been our home and will be our home forever. We're not going anywhere. We love it here. We love the neighborhood. We love the friends we have here. It's been a great ride. It really has, the whole thing. We enjoy each other, and we like being with each other, and we enjoy being at home a lot. We don't go out a lot,
Well, we don't travel a lot.
We don't travel a lot, but we have so many friends, that we see and keep in touch with here and away. And I love all his old boys. They all live in the neighborhood.
Right.
They're all accessible at any time I need them. They're great. And they're always calling or coming over or taking them to lunch. And it's just a wonderful life. It really is.
And wonderful to be able to visit with you. I loved it. Skip Bertman, also an LPB Louisiana legend. And you can check out the SECnetwork.com for when you can see Hold the Rope. And now we hear from a Baton Rouge man, a do-it-yourselfer, self-taught and meticulous in home remodeling and building. But how the price of lumber, like just about everything in the aftermath of COVID, soared. A big obstacle, but Brent Corbin had the will and found a way around it.
We started a major project on this house last March, pretty much right when COVID got going and my work travel ground to a halt. So we jumped in, and for most of last year when I was buying the big quantities of wood to do cabinets and floors and stuff, things were pretty level. And then earlier this spring, that's when we started looking at buying this other house in town, and we bought the house and then quickly thereafter started looking at the addition we were going to be doing on it and all the different stuff, and I realized that lumber was about 4 times what it was last year when I was doing the project on this current house. And so
so give me an example of what you would have seen.
Yeah, I mean,
and you were buying stuff at a Home Depot?
Yeah,
or someplace?
just Home Depot, Homes. There's some specialty wood shops in town where I would get cypress and heart pine and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it shows up in lots of different ways. I mean, the easiest, you walk into Home Depot or Lowe's, and the end cap has all the studs on it. And last year, just a 2x4, 8-foot would be $2.37. And I noticed this February and March when I went in there, that same piece of wood was $7.97 or $8.43 or what. I mean, it just was.
Have you ever seen that?
Oh no! I mean, it is an all-time high for lumber prices. Okay. So that very quickly started changing the calculus on how we were thinking about this house we had just bought. We closed on this house at the end of March, and again, we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with it. I travel for work, and so I was actually back on the road. I woke up one morning in Jackson, Mississippi, and I opened the Wall Street Journal on my phone, and I was reading, and there was an article there that caught my eye because it said timber prices are at an all-time low. So just raw timber coming out of the forest was at an all-time low, but lumber was at an all-time high. And so I got immediately interested because I had seen the high price of lumber. I didn't know about the low price of timber. During COVID, a lot of the big sawmills they're corporate owned now, and a lot of them I'm guessing are unionized, so they had very strict controls on their labor force and who could go in. So they were running at minimum capacity basically, while on the back end there was maximum demand from consumers who were wanting to do stuff to their houses and add on, build out offices. And when I saw low timber, high lumber prices, I texted a friend of mine outside of Baton Rouge who lives in Walker and I've been working with on various projects. And I asked him, I said, hey, if I can get you a load of raw timber, an 18-wheeler full of, I've never done this before, full of timber wood, can you mill it into wood that I can use?
And he's someone that has a business that does this.
Yeah, he's got a small sawmill, and he said, yeah, I can do it. And then, so I immediately asked him, well, do you know anybody that sells timber? Because I don't. And he said, yeah, I got lots of friends who do it. So, okay, how much is that? And so he said $1,200 for a load of timber. I said, well, how many board feet is that? Started kind of doing the calculation, and I was going to be paying a fifth as much as I would at a store. Wow. So I was saving 80% by going this route. It's a lot more work.
And this is at a store that traditionally has the better prices, right?
Yeah. I mean, that would have been versus Home Depot or Lowe's, and there's other stores in town that are shops that they can charge more because they have a better customer service experience. But yeah, I mean that's a big discrepancy. Once I was ready to go, I sent him my materials list. I need this many 2x4x10s, this many 2x4x16s, 2x6x12. Just gave him the list, and it was about 4,000 board feet. And so he goes and gets that much timber, or his friend cuts it, brings it to his shop on an 18-wheeler, and they unload it, and he sets it on his saws and just gets going. And so what he'll do after that is he'll put it on a trailer, drop it at the project house, and I've got to build a structure where to let the wood dry.
80% savings compared to what you would have done.
Yeah.
And what most anybody would have done if they're thinking the only place to go is to a
shop,
big box store.
Yeah. I mean, simple calculation. I figured the wood that we would need for this project was going to cost $20,000 if I was going to go to, big box store and get it. My all-in costs for doing this, after I buy the timber, after I pay him to mill it, after I bring out an inspection, someone from Southern Pine Inspection Bureau to examine the wood, make sure it's structure ready to put inside the house, because you have to do that to pass code. Right. Once I do all of that, my all-in costs will be between $4,000 and $5,000.
Instead of more than $20,000. Brent Corbin, thanks for the how-to lesson.
This week's Louisiana Young Hero was diagnosed with cancer at 14 years old. Family and friends were essential to getting him through tough times, but ultimately it was his dedication to community that became the biggest source of hope. Tonight I'm introducing you to high school junior Michael Vizena.
2 children and 33 years of marriage, Peggy and Lee Vizena felt that something was missing, a void that the couple didn't exactly know how to fill until Peggy finally understood what it meant.
Some friends of ours adopted 2 girls at 2 different times from China, and a beautiful family, beautiful children, and that just started me thinking. And it's one of those things that when it shows to you, you realize, okay, I'm supposed to do this.
The gnawing feeling she felt was the need to care for another child. Both of her daughters had grown up and moved out. The house was empty, except for that need to care for someone else. That only grew over time.
I really had that deep feeling inside of me that I was supposed to adopt a child.
And that's how they found our young hero, Michael. He was 9 years old and had been bounced from house to house since he was 3. Peggy says he was a perfect fit.
I went and met him on I don't remember what day it was, and met at a McDonald's, and we all ate. And he told his caseworker when he got back to her, he said, "They offered me to get some more fries. That was very nice of them." And he was 9, so he was a little bitty feller. But then the next week he came to our house, and by the rules of the foster care system, he has to stay in the home for 6 months before he can adopt. So that was in November in 2014, and we adopted in July of 2015.
I do remember the McDonald's thing when we had first met, and I was like, yeah, these are the people I want to live with.
But as we know, perfection can only last so long.
My name's Michael. I'm 14. I'm in the 8th grade, and I was diagnosed with leukemia.
Michael's sister put this video out 2 years ago while he was fighting for his life in Lafayette. The Vizenas never thought the child they had adopted into the family would suffer through so much pain, especially not at such a young age. But Michael has always been tough, even from the beginning.
It started at school. Like, I was having really bad back problems. My legs were hurting, and I was tired all the time. And then I started getting really bad headaches. And then one day it hurt extremely bad, so we went to the hospital. It's actually my birthday, and I told my mom, I said, we need to go to the hospital. And then that's when they sent us to Lafayette.
Once he got to Lafayette, Michael got the worst news he'd ever heard. Those aches and pains weren't just a product of growing up like his parents thought. It was a serious illness that only 1 in 800 children have to fight.
When the doctor mentioned something about leukemia, I was like, no, that's not it.
But it was. Michael was diagnosed with leukemia. He'd deal with severe joint pain, bruising, and extreme fatigue while fighting this illness without a cure. To his family and friends, watching him suffer was almost as painful as the disease symptoms.
It was very scary because I never dealt with anything like that. I was not knowledgeable on the subject. And so, of course, we had a zillion questions for the doctor. And I'd always heard, okay, if you're really sick like this, you have cancer or whatever, you need to go to Houston, or you need to go to New Orleans, or you need to go to Memphis. And I just felt like we were led to Lafayette for a reason.
It was more of a shock. And I guess it took a while for it to really register it in. But then when it happened, I was like, well, I'm gonna have to do. I can't just be all sad about it. I'm gonna just have to go with it. I mean, I'm just something I have to live with.
Michael's strength to carry on through this illness was inspiring. His high school in Elizabeth, Louisiana pulled together in support of their classmate. They made shirts labeled Michael Strong, and Peggy says that mentality carried through the town. Michael got 150 units of blood donated to the Life Share Blood Center. And that's just one of the many things he's done to be considered a young hero.
I really want to get back to the community and just to experience new things. Just try to be normal.
He's a 2021 Elizabeth High School baseball manager, and he also volunteered as a camp counselor to help kids with special needs. He's been through a lot, but it hasn't stopped him from helping others, and that's inspiring to his family and his friends.
He has done a lot to change our perspective on life. Things that we thought were important were not, especially after the cancer diagnosis thing. You know, that really puts things in perspective for you. And the way he's went through it, just, you know, being a trooper about it all.
Michael will complete his cancer treatment in January 2022. Tomorrow afternoon at the Old State Capitol in Baton Rouge, something long overdue is happening for civil rights icon Johnny Jones. 76 years later, he will finally receive his Purple Heart. He was wounded in the Battle of Normandy in World War II. Mr. Jones is now 101.
Racial inequities kept his war story overlooked decade after decade, but tomorrow history will be made right. Senator Bill Cassidy will present Mr. Jones with this medal. Sir, we salute you. You've done so much for us. And LPB Stories for Justice continues with a virtual preview of 3 film shorts from Independent Lens. We'll be showing Zoo Crew, Constance, and the Parish Prison. That's happening Monday, June 28th at 6 p.m.
After the screening, you'll hear from the filmmakers and panelists who will talk about issues raised in the films. Some of those topics include new rehabilitation programs in Louisiana for the incarcerated.
If you share feedback through a survey, you'll be entered to win an LPB Passport membership. You can register at lpb.org/justice. And everyone, that's our show for this week. Remember, you can watch anything LPB anytime, wherever you are, with our LPB app.
You can catch LPB News and public affairs shows as well as other Louisiana programs you've come to enjoy over the years. And please like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
For everyone at Louisiana Public Broadcasting, I'm André Moreau.
And I'm Kara St. Cyr.
Until next time, that's the state we're in.
Support for LPB's 2021 Louisiana Young Heroes is provided by
At AmeriHealthCaritas Louisiana, we help people get care, stay well, and build healthy communities. Care is the heart of our work at AmeriHealthCaritas Louisiana.
and by the U.S. Army Baton Rouge Recruiting Battalion, Community Coffee, and the East Baton Rouge Parish Library, with additional support from Hotel Indigo and Dimco.
Entergy is proud to support programming on LPB and greener practices that preserve Louisiana.
The goal of our environmental and sustainability initiatives really is to ensure that our kids and future generations can be left with a cleaner planet.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, with support from viewers like you.